Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah.
And let us start the session directly. I'll take you to the screen. And here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as decided, today I want to clear this bearing topic. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is very important. Okay. And bearing, what happens, many a times it is becoming difficult for the students because they don't understand the basic. Okay. If you don't know the basics, then actually bearing is applied in the problems along with the sine rule and cosine rule. You must have seen. Okay. But here, first we'll have to understand what is bearings. Okay. So you can see on the screen, understanding bearings definition first. Okay. So there are four parts in this. Okay. First, you try to understand these statements. Statement number one is A is at a bearing of 0.45 degree from B, right? Second statement is P is at a bearing of 120 degree from Q. Third statement is L is at a bearing of 180 degree from M. Okay. And the fourth statement is R is at a bearing of 0.00 from S, right? Now, let us try to understand the meaning of this above four statements. Okay, so one by one, we are going to deal with the statements.
Okay.
And then we will understand what is the meaning and the definition of bearings. Okay, now the first statement is A is at a bearing of 0.45 from B. Now, one thing let me make you clear. जितने भी bearings है, okay, उसके मैंने जो ये लिखे है degree, okay, that is in 3 digits. Even though it is 45 degree, but I have written 0.45. Okay. For 120, I have written 120 degree. For 180, I have written 180 degree. And for 0 angle, 0 degree, I have written 000. Okay. So this is very important. Bearings is always denoted by 3 digits. Okay. Even if the angle of a bearing, bearing is measured in angles, right? Even if that angle is a single digit or 2 digit or 3 digit, you have to show in 3 digit only. Suppose the bearing is 9 degree, you will have to write 009. Suppose it is 19 degree,
Yeah.
you will have to write 019. Okay, that way. So that is why I've written everywhere 0.45, 120, 180 and 000, right? Now let us try to understand the first one. Let us understand the meaning of the above four statement one by one. So first one is A is at a bearing of 0.45 from B. So what I have done, now this is very important. If the statement says A from B, okay, A from B or P from Q, L from M, okay, R from S, right? So after from what letter comes, there at that letter you will have to draw a arrow pointing in the north direction. Okay. So first one kya hai statement? A is at a bearing of 0.45 from B. तो from B है ना, तो from के बाद B आता है, तो B पे at the point B you have to draw a arrow in the north direction, which I have done here. Can you see here? Arrow I have drawn at B point in the north direction, right? Then from that arrow mark, you have to take this angle 0.45. You have to measure that angle and create a new angle. So you will get an angle like NBA is equal to 45 degree. Okay. So you have now shown that the bearing of A from B is 45. This is how bearing uh, has to be interpreted also, and this is how bearing का diagram has to be drawn. समझ में आया? तो देखो, here I have written, this means that A is anywhere on the line BM such that angle NBM is 45 degree clockwise from BM. Now all these things जो मैंने लिखा है ना, वो satisfy हो रहा है. Okay? I told you in a very simple way. From B होगा ना, तो B पे आपको north के direction में arrow mark बनाना है. From that arrow mark, you'll have to take whatever bearing ka angle is given. Suppose 45 दिया है, तो 45, 120 is to 120, 180 to 180. Whatever angle is given, that angle you have to draw. And once the terminal arm of that angle is made, on that terminal arm, that point, the first point, okay, यहाँ पे क्या था, A from B था ना, तो before from there was a letter A. So that letter A you will find anywhere on this line BM. Okay,
Yeah.
जो BM line है उस पे कहीं भी हो सकता है. Now this depends upon second information. अगर ऐसा होता कि this A is at a distance of certain kilometers or certain meter from B, then this A point you would have been unique. Okay, suppose BA उसने बोला होता कि distance BA is suppose 5 kilometer, so you have to take 5 kilometer only, or 5 meter, then you have to take 5 meter only, then that point A will be unique. समझ में आ रहा है? हेलो, ठीक है? So this is all about bearing from the first statement. Now second statement is P is at a bearing of 120 degree from Q. Okay, so this particular diagram, अगर समझो आपको ऐसा diagram दिया है और बोला कि what is this diagram telling you, then you have to read this way. This diagram is telling me that bearing of A from B is 045. Okay, bearing of A from B. अब ये A from B and B from A is not one and the same. Okay, it's totally different. So bearing of A from B है ना is 45, means first you have to see कि from B है. Okay, from के बाद B letter है, तो B letter पे you have to draw a north direction में arrow, and from that arrow you have to take that angle 45. Okay? If that you can see, then you can say that bearing of A from B is 45. ठीक है, समझ में आया? Now second example, let us try to understand second example. P is at a bearing of 120 from Q. So here we go. Second May diagram I have drawn, but I'll tell you how I have drawn the diagram. Okay. The question is, the statement is P is at a bearing of 120 from Q. So after from which letter is coming? See, the question is P is at a bearing of 120 degree from Q. Okay. So from के बाद Q आता है, right? So at Q, I have drawn a arrow mark. So at the point Q, I will draw a north direction arrow mark. Okay. From that north direction arrow mark, I will take my protractor and I'll measure 120 degrees. So roughly I'll get somewhere over here this angle 120. Okay. So this QP is nothing but the terminal arm of this angle 120 degree, right? On this terminal arm, this point P, which is coming before the from के पहले जो letter आता है ना, that letter will be somewhere over here, okay, on the line QP. Okay. Now, if they give you more information that the distance of P from the Q, or the distance between these 2 points P and Q is certain X meter or X centimeter, whatever, if that is given, then you have to measure that distance, okay, of course, according to the scale, and put a point at exactly at that point only. P you cannot put anywhere. Okay, so here you can understand this, that the location of this point P is not complete by only this 120 degree. Okay, 120 degree bearing के साथ अगर आपको किसी ने बोला होता कि P is at a distance of certain meters from Q, then this location of P would have been fixed. अब आप क्या बोल सकते हो? This point P is anywhere on this line, the terminal arm of this angle NQP. Is that clear? Okay. And remember, you have to go clockwise always. From the north direction, you have to go clockwise. The second example is also understood?
Yeah.
Okay. और इसको read कैसे करेंगे? Bearing of P from Q is 120 degree. Or P is at 120 degree bearing from Q. देखो ये जो language है ना, even in the examination when the question comes in front of you, the language will be either this way, bearing of P from Q is 120 degree, or they will say P is at 120 degree bearing from Q. Both has the same meaning. Okay. Importance should be given to from के बाद what letter is coming. So after from, if Q is coming, so you will have to draw the north direction at Q. Is that clear?
Yes.
Third example. Third example में he has told L is at a bearing of 180 degree from M. Okay, so what I will do, from के बाद M आता है, तो at this point M, I have drawn this north direction arrow. From this north direction arrow, I have taken 180 degree. So this is my angle. And at this 180 degree, I have drawn this terminal arm. So my angle is actually, ये समझो P point है यहाँ पे. Okay? This is P. Then it is PML. The angle is PML, right? And this angle PLM is nothing but my bearing. Okay, 180 degree. And 180 degree indicates that it is south direction. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let us do same way. 1 second. Yeah. Same way we can go for example number 4. So if somebody says 180 degree bearing means what? So you can say 180 degree bearing means south direction. Okay. You can understand that way. Now,
Yeah.
fourth statement was R is at a bearing of 0, 0, 0 from the point S. So I'll take the point S. There I will draw one arrow mark indicating north direction. And from that arrow mark, I'm going to take how much angle? 0 angle, because the bearing is 0. So, on that that angle, I will take some point R. So can you see R I have taken on this line only, right? So this angle, this R and S, both are lying on the north direction only. Okay. So zero bearing का मतलब क्या होता है? North direction itself. Isn't it? Zero bearing का मतलब होता है north direction itself.
Yeah.
Is that clear? Now summary of this I will let you know. North direction means 0, 0, 0 bearing. South direction means 180 degree bearing. East direction will mean 90 degree bearing. And west direction will mean 270 degree bearing. Okay. This is the summary of this bearing. Right? Now see, I have tried to show you in this diagram also. East, west, north and south direction I have drawn over here. The origin of these two axes, they are meeting at O. So suppose O is the observer. Okay, O is the observer. So bearing of P from O. Suppose that P point is on the in the north direction from O. O is an observer, suppose. Okay. So P is exactly in the north of that observer O. Okay. So P ka jo bearing hoga, that will be 0. Right. Then if you see R point, R is exactly in the south of the O. R point is on the south of direction of O. So the bearing will be 180 degrees. So can you see? Sorry. Yeah, bearing will be 180 degrees. So can you see I have written here 180 degrees?
Yes.
This is for south. This is for north. Suppose that point Q you are taking. So Q is observer ke east direction. Okay, where with respect to observer, Q point is on the east of the observer. So you can say that the bearing is 90 degree. And same way in the west, it will be 270 degree. Why 270 degree? Because at O, you will draw north direction, which is this point. And from here, you will go all the way up to 270 degree. On this line, you will get any point S. This is what is meant by S is at a bearing of 270 from O.
Yeah.
That understood?
Yes.
अब थोड़ा सा bearing का concept आपको clear हुआ होगा. Right? Okay. Now this is very interesting. Bearing of A from B and bearing of B from A. Okay, many a times in your papers, आपके paper 2 में जो कि MCQ होता है. Okay, या तो paper not MCQ, maths में तो MCQ नहीं होता, but paper 2 and paper 4 also, this type of questions I have seen many a times. Okay, so they will give you a bearing of A from B and they will ask you what is the bearing of B from A. Okay, so you have to understand how to decide. If one is given, how you will get the other. It is just a reverse. Okay, so यहाँ पे मैंने लिखा है, if bearing of A from B is 0, 0, 0 to 180 degree, किसी भी दो पॉइंट के बीच में ए एंड बी के बीच में, इफ द बैरिंग इज in the range of 000 to 180, okay,
Yeah.
000 to 180, suppose it is say 00x, right? Then the bearing of b from a will be how much? Then the shortcut method is it will be 180 plus that. Okay, shortcut is 180 plus that. 180 could just you add that amount, but then this x has to be between 00 and 180. The second situation is if the bearing of A from B is somewhere between 180 to 360. Okay, bearing 180 to 360 भी हो सकता है, right? So if that is the case, if the bearing is more than 180, say XYZ in this case, then the bearing of B from A will be this 180 degree difference 360 minus XYZ. या तो फिर इसका ऑल्टरनेटिव इजी मेथड आई टेल यू, इट विल बी XYZ minus 180. सिंपल एज दैट. समझ में आ गया?
Yes.
Okay, so if the bearing of A from B is something and that something is between 0 and 180, then what you have to do to find the bearing, reverse bearing, that is B from A, all you have to do is to 180 you add that value. And suppose the bearing from A to bearing of A from B, okay, is between 180 and 360, more than 180, less than 360. देखो bearing जो है it can be anywhere between 0 to 360. Okay, but when it is between 180 and 360, then if you want to find out reverse bearing, okay, B from A, then what you have to do, that angle you take, XYZ, what is given, from that you take away 180. That will be the answer. Is that clear? Now, ये कुछ examples मैंने दिए हैं यहाँ पे, it will become very clear to you. Now, this is example number 1. Right? Can you see this? Example number 1. Now, if you see this drawing that I have drawn, this angle I have given as 45 degree. Okay. Now, can you look at this drawing and tell you, can you make a statement? What is the statement? Is it 045 degree is a bearing of A from B or B from A? I'm asking you.
It's
A from
A.
045 degree is a bearing or bearing of A from B or B from A?
It's A from B.
Very good. So this 45 is 045 degree is the bearing of A from B. Very good. How you identified that it is from B? Because you must have seen that at the point B, I have drawn the north direction, and from this north direction, this 45 degree has been measured. Isn't it? So A from B is equal to 045. This is given. Now, if somebody is asking you, tell me what is B from A then? Then, ये diagram को फिर से देखो आप. B from A means at A, I am going to draw a north direction, which I have drawn over here. And from this north direction, I'll go all the way and come to this point, okay, on which this B point can be seen, okay.
Yeah.
So this angle will be my answer for B from A, isn't it? तो ये B from A अगर आपको directly shortcut method से चाहिए तो क्या होगा? Now this 045 is between 0 and 180. It doesn't come in second category, 180 to 360. It comes in first category, 0 to 180. So if the bearing of A from B is anything between 0 and 180, then I told you that you have to add 180 to that bearing, okay? So to get the reverse bearing. So B from A ka answer will be 180 plus 045, which will work out to how much? This will work out to 225 degree. Okay, this is shortcut method. अच्छे से दिमाग में बिठा दो, shortcut method ही आपको use करना होगा, right? If they ask you what is, if A from B is 045, what will be B from A? Maybe they can give you a question which is straight away like that only, or they can, or in some other question, you may require to find B from A and they must have given you A from B, okay? So these are the techniques that you have to use. So 180 plus 045 will be 225, okay? But here I have tried to explain you, okay, why it is exactly 225. Now see, Abhi, B from A will be this angle, right? Suppose we don't know it is 225, this angle, okay? Suppose this arrow goes and completes over here, then it will be 360, okay? So can you say that this bearing of B from A has to be 360 minus this angle, this dotted angle, right? And this dotted angle, say, let it be X. Suppose this is X, right? Now we know that when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, these are two parallel lines, okay? Suppose this is AB and this is CD. When these two parallel lines are cut, this T is known as a transversal. Then sum of these two angles, 1 and 2, these are known as co-interior angles, okay? These are known as co-interior angles, 1 and 2. So sum of this 1 and 2 is always equal to 180. There is a simple geometrical theorem which you must have studied in your earlier class, in your lower classes. This is known as co-interior angles. Okay?
Yeah.
So sum of the co-interior angles is always 180. So here you can see that X and 45 are co-interior angles because these two are parallel lines. Both are pointing towards the north direction. So they will be parallel, isn't it? If two lines are having the same direction, that means they are parallel, isn't it? Now both these lines are pointing in the north direction. Therefore, these two lines will be parallel and you can consider AB as a transversal. AB as a transversal. So can you say that this angle 45 and this angle X, they form co-interior angle? Yes.
Yes.
So 45 plus X will be 180. Isn't it? 45 plus X will be 180. So X will be how much? It will be 180 minus 45. And that is why I did that 180 minus 45. I got 135. But this 135 is my X. I don't want this X. I want the bearing. So bearing will be 360 minus X. So 360 minus 135 if I do, I get the answer as 225, which is my answer for the bearing. अब इतना लंबा चौड़ा करने से अच्छा है कि you just do it this way, 180 plus 45. Got it? Understood?
Yeah.
Good. Let us go for the next question. Next question says that, now looking at this question, can you tell me this 120 degree is indicating what? Is it a bearing of A from B or B from A?
It's A from B.
Very good. So A from B is given as 120. So my question is find the bearing of B from A. Okay. Now use the shortcut method. Just see 120 is between 0 and 180 or 180 and 360. Very clearly 120 is between 0 and 180. So for 0 and 180 के बीच में कोई angle होगा ना bearing, so you have to just add 180 to that. This will give you the answer. So this will work out to how much? 300. So the bearing of B from A, this will be B from A, will be 300. Can you see? 300. Isn't it easy and very shortcut method?
Yeah.
Okay. But ये याद रखना है और याद ना भी रखो तो भी कैसे होता है, how it comes to 300, you know, why 180 is added every time, that I am giving you explanation also separately. ठीक है ना? If you see this carefully, you will come to know that it is working well. Okay?
Yeah.
Fine. If you want, you can keep on taking the screenshot also. Later I will give you if you have not taken. So the summary from these two examples is this. From these two examples, what you can, what conclusion you can draw is this one. Okay. If A from B bearing is say M. Okay. Bearing A from B is say M, and this M is supposed between 0 and 180. Like in both this example, in one example it was 45 degree, in other it was 120, right? So between 0 and 180, then the bearing B from A will be given by 180 plus this M. Okay, I've written X, but it should be M. Got it? 180 plus M. So reverse bearing B from A will be getting by adding 180 to that M, if M is between 0 and 180. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Now, two more examples I'm going to give you where the bearing will be between 180 and 360. In that case, what you have to do, so this is decided. Okay, ये एक rule है, वो decide हो गया है. If the bearing of A from B is between 0 and 180, then the reverse bearing of B from A will be 180 plus this bearing. Okay, whatever bearing is given between 0 and 180, right? So that is the rule. Now, next example, let us try to see what is happening. In example number 3, now can you see 200 is a bearing, this 200 degree. Now, can you tell me this 200 degree bearing is from A from B or B from A? Looking at the diagram.
A from B.
Yes, it is also A from B. So you can write here A from B bearing is 200, right? And suppose if they ask you B from A, means they are asking you the reverse bearing, okay? So reverse bearing will be how much? If this is the question, then what you have to do? So here the shortcut is, this was 180 plus M, no? Yahan pe it will be, suppose this is in general M, okay? So here the rule is M minus 180. This was 180 plus M. Here it will be M minus 180. This is the rule. So for 200, what will be the reverse bearing? It will be 200 minus 180, which works out to how much? 0, 20.
Yeah.
We cannot write 20 degree because bearing has to be shown in 3 digits. So it will be 0, 2, 0, right? Understood this one? Shortcut?
Yeah.
Right. Now let us see. This A from B is 200. This bearing is 200. Okay. Now they have asked you to find the bearing B from A. So to find bearing of B from A, at A I will draw a north direction arrow, which I have drawn over here. And from this north direction, I will come to this point. Okay, AB line tak. Whatever angle I am getting, this angle, suppose this angle is M. So this angle will be my, I'm not writing M. Let it be X. Okay. This X will be the bearing of B from A, isn't it? Now, can you see this is 200. Ye complete hota, so 360 hota. So this will be how much? This will be 360 minus 200. So can you see 360 minus 200 is 160. So this angle I'm getting as 160. Understood?
Yeah.
Then again, between two parallel lines, there is a transversal AB. Then these are the two co-interior angles. The X and the 160 are co-interior angles. So both has to be sum up to 180. X plus 160 should be 180, isn't it? So by this, you will get X equal to 180 minus 160, which is nothing but 20 degree, isn't it? So your X, that is your bearing, okay, of B from A is 0 to 0 degree. Understood? तो मैंने आपको एक्चुअल वे में भी कैसे फाइंड आउट करते हैं आंसर वो बता दिया और शॉर्टकट मेथड भी बता रहा हूँ, दोनों मैं साथ में बता रहा हूँ तो आपके दिमाग में बैठ जाए शॉर्टकट मेथड ऑल्सो. Okay, so because here A from B bearing was 200, okay, which was more than 180, less than 360. So what you did, 200 minus 180 you did, and you got the answer for B from A. Okay. This topic is also known as reverse bearing. तो क्या बोलते हैं रिवर्स बेरिंग. तो A to B दिया रहेगा तो B to A कैसे फाइंड आउट करना है, P from Q दिया रहेगा तो Q from P कैसे फाइंड आउट करना है, L from M दिया रहेगा तो M from L कैसे फाइंड आउट करना है. ओके, these are known as reverse bearing concept, right? Understood? So
Yes.
this is understood. Now यहाँ पे summary मैंने लिखा है, if A from B bearing is say M, but M is greater than 180. This time it is greater than 180. and greater than 180 up to maximum 360. Okay, so M is between 180 and 360. You can write this way. M is between 180 and 360. Okay, right? Then what will happen? B from A will be given by that M minus 180. So this is the shortcut. Got it?
Yeah.
समझ में आ गया? Now, this explanation that I have given you on bearing, ये bearing मैंने आपको अच्छी तरह से पूरा उसका background समझा दिया. आप lifelong you will never make any mistake in bearings at least. Okay. Now this question, if you can do very quickly, you have calculator with you. Okay. I want you to do by shortcut method, right? Very quick answers I want. This is that question, right? If the bearing of A from B are given below, find the bearing of B from A, that is reverse bearing, and write down the rule for the same. Okay. So A wala ka, A from B is given as 60 degrees, 060. Okay. So solution, you will tell me fatafat solution. I want by shortcut method. Okay. So this is 60 degree A. Bearing A from B is 60. So tell me the answer for B from A. What will be the answer?
You just do 180 plus 60, right? Which would be 240.
Yes, I taught you all the way. All this time I was telling you that only. Use the rule, shortcut method. कितना होगा? 180 plus 60 equal to 240, correct? 240 degree. Okay. B का answer can you tell me?
That would be 180 plus
180
160.
plus 160 कितना होता है?
340.
Very good. 340 is the answer. Okay. Tell me the answer for C. It is 190. Now it is greater than 180. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you will do?
Wait, could you revise the rule for this one?
Right? See there, you can see the rule. M minus 180. So M is 190. So 190 minus 180 is how much?
10.
Yes, 10 degree. Okay. D. D is 300.
Yeah.
So 300 minus 180, right?
Yeah, 120.
That is 120. Okay.
Yeah.
And then E. E is what? 45.
Yeah.
So 180 plus 45, isn't it? That is 225. This we have seen in the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. Then F. F is 180.
Yeah.
Now if it is 180, what you will do? Anything you can use, the first rule or the second rule. It will be?
So it would be 0.
Any rule you use. Pehle wala ya dusre wala. It will be 180 minus this x, which is 180 minus 180, which is 0.
Yeah.
Okay. 200. 200 is more than 180. So 200 minus 180.
20.
0 to 0, not 20.
Yeah.
Then 88. 88 is less than 180.
Yeah.
So what you will do?
180 plus 88.
That works out to?
268.
268. See how you are getting the answers.
Yeah.
I get 10 degree. Okay, 010 degree. So 190.
Yeah.
Right? Then 1110. J kya hai? 1110. 1110 is still less than 180.
Yeah. 290.
So 180 plus 1110.
290.
Is 290. Perfect. The last one is K is 90. So 90 means how much? 180 plus 90.
Yeah, 270.
180 plus 90 is 270. Got it?
Yeah.
Now 270 is west or east. It is west. Okay.
West. Yeah.
तो मैंने देखो आपको यहाँ पे बताया था 90 degree bearing means west. Sorry, 90 degree
270.
bearing is east. Can you see here?
Yeah.
Bearing of Q from O is 90 degree. So 90 degree is east. Q is on the east. 270 is here. Can you see? It is west.
Yeah.
Right? So I think you must have understood the concept of bearing very much nicely now today.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the very basic of bearing, which many students, they don't know exactly. And moreover, they start using this bearing का concept for other questions. Okay,
Yeah.
जो दूसरे questions होते हैं ना, two towns are located A, B, C at
Yeah.
a distance so and so ऐसा, जिसमें bearing को सिर्फ use करना होता है हमको. But because we don't know the exact meaning of bearing, so it becomes very difficult that time, and we make a lot of mistake over there, right? So today my purpose was to take this session to make you understand these bearings, including this reverse bearing, because reverse bearing makes you understand very nicely, right? So today I will wind my session early, okay? And next session, that is tomorrow, I will be now introducing sine rule and cosine rule along with this bearing,
Okay.
so that you can start doing problems which has all the three concepts together: cosine rule, sine rule, and the bearings. But please do this revision of this bearing, okay?
Yeah.
And I hope you must have understood now this bearing very nicely.
Yes.
Right? So today's session I will end here only. See you tomorrow at sometime we will decide, okay?
Yeah, fine.
Sure. Bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you.